Here, we're going to start. Good morning and welcome to the April 13th, 2023 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. Meeting will now come to order. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Harrington?
Here.
Mrs. Marsh? Here. Ms. Roby?
Here.
Ms. Himes?
Here.
Mr. Meehan? Did I pronounce that right? Mr. Meegan?
Yes, here.
Okay. And Mr. Gonzalez is absent. at the
Absent.
moment.
And Mrs. Kundig is present.
Yes,
Okay. I think we need a motion to excuse Mr. Gonzalez.
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, and we have a new member, Mr. Thomas Mahegan, and we welcome you and glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I briefed him a little bit on his party communications. He's good.
Okay, good.
Madam Chairman, I have
Go ahead.
a couple of things. I got an email concerning this ethics thing. I'm not quite sure I understand. Are we supposed to take this online?
Yes, sir. You take it online and then you bring the affidavit paper. I can notarize it for you once you bring
Okay.
it
Do
here.
you have to do it all at one time, or can you come back and forth?
I'm not sure. I'll ask the city clerk. I'll find out for you.
Okay.
You don't have, I don't think you have to, you can pick up where you leave off if there's something you need to do. It's not very, it's, you know, it says it's 4 hours, but it doesn't end up being 4 hours.
Okay.
So I found it really useful.
Oh, you did it already?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I found it useful
And the other
in a
one
lot of respects.
is, it's not on the agenda about the election.
Yeah. We need to have elections.
Put that on the next
Put it
agenda.
on the next
Put on the next
agenda.
agenda.
Will do.
I will tell you that I'm probably not going to be here next time. So,
That's all
Good,
right.
that's better.
We'll vote you
That's
in
right.
anyway.
but hopefully we'll have
Good,
a
that's good.
quorum.
Better you're not here.
Yeah.
Can I vote by proxy next
And
month?
you may not be there. either.
I won't be here
Oh,
next month.
Yeah. Ms. Roby might not be here next month either. She will not be here. And I'm thinking I will not be here.
So do we need
We got a
super majority for an election, or do we need just?
No, we don't need,
whoever's here?
No, just,
we can appoint.
no, 511, yeah, I'm
They're
not
not
going to
here.
be here. Yeah, okay. All right. So, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Anybody need to disclose any ex parte communication? Okay. Do we have announcements, Madam Secretary?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Page 2, the lien review.
Yes.
At the request of the respondents to be pulled.
What,
Ha-
did you say case two?
No, the lien review.
lien
Okay, I have a
review.
question about that.
Page
How does
2.
that,
Only one on there.
at the request of the respondent, what does that, I mean, can you
Just
explain
saying
that
the
to me?
applicant is saying that they're not ready to go forward yet. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct.
Did you finish your
When he
meeting yet?
came in this morning, he realized that he wasn't in compliance.
Okay.
So there was no need for him to go forward. So-
Be set on a future agenda.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So basically, it's just being pulled off the agenda, withdrawn.
Okay, no.
Only issue I have, everybody doesn't, if somebody's not in compliance, they say, oh, I don't want to come.
Well,
But this is his lien review. This was
I mean,
his
he is in
request.
compliance, but,
No.
oh, no, he's not in
No.
compliance.
Right, yeah, and that's a matter of practice.
Oh,
Would
so
go
we
forward.
can't do a lien review.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah,
sense to
it
me.
shouldn't have been,
We pulled it off the
been-
agenda.
All right, it's
He's
off.
going to save these papers for his next lien review?
All right.
Wait.
Well,
Well, if I may, Madam Chair.
No, let's
ahead.
get a new packet. Then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can-
I
Yeah.
understand that they may have a
Additional
whole
information.
different issue by the time they finish.
Right.
so
Yeah, but if
who knows?
not, we could at least save some
Yeah, you'll have
paper.
to back up.
I'll just get you a new one.
I know, we'll get a fresh one, I'm sure.
She'll give you a fresh one because once it comes into compliance, that information won't be correct.
Let's get it-
Yeah, okay. All right. Is that what, do we have anything else?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Page 4, I'm sorry. Page 3,
uh-huh,
case number 4,
okay.
CEB 03-2349 Chevron Universal LLC is in compliance as of 3/31/23. Okay. Page 4, case number 10, CEB 03-23-45 1118 Live Oak is also in compliance, 4/5/23. Page number 5. Case number 14, CEB 03-23-51, 630 Tanglewood Street is in compliance as of 4/10/23. Page 6, case number 15, CEB 03-23-52, 611 Tanglewood Street is in compliance as well as of 4/10/23. Page number 10, case 34, 336 Fordham Drive is in compliance as of, was that yesterday? I'm sorry. I think it was yesterday, 4/12/23. And those are my announcements. Oh. Yes, I'm sorry. And we also have an attorney for case 17.
Okay, 17. You were here before, right, Attorney Andrews, right?
That's correct.
What's the case number?
17.
17.
All right, let's go over our code procedure. Would the code officers first please stand up and be sworn in?
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be calling cases by number and for the most part in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are attorneys present, we will hear those cases first if they have to be in court. If there are police officers here who need to get back to duty, that need to testify, we will also hear those cases first. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. If you're not the owner of a property, please explain your relationship to the owner of the property and tell us whether you have permission to speak for them. Everything's recorded, so please speak clearly into the microphone and direct all of your responses to the board. Witnesses may testify. If there are witnesses, they follow the same procedure and may testify. In some cases, that will happen. All right, do you need to be in court, sir?
I don't have any court today, but I do want to limit how long the meter spins.
Okay. And what's your case number?
17,
All right,
and it should be very fast.
okay. Is it acceptable to hear case number 17 first from everybody on the board? Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's do case 17 first. me see. Case 17 is on page 6. CEB 09-22-204. And just, you state your name and address for the record, Mr. Andrews.
I'm Tanner Andrews, P.O. Box 1208, DeLand. I'm the attorney for Ms. Keating.
Okay. And you were here last time, too, for her.
I was.
Okay. Well, good morning, Ms. Kirk.
Good morning.
What can you
Sarah
tell us?
Kirk, Inspector with the city. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, there hasn't been much progress. The city is still working to vacate the right-of-way. The only update I've gotten from the right-of-way coordinator, which is in the engineering department with the city, that it should be going before the planning board for a review soon. Sorry. So with that being said, I'd like to amend to the June cutoff.
I just want to make clear, so it's the planning board or?
It's got to go before the planning board for a review. That's the only update I have at the moment on it. But it's, I was told in the beginning from the city's engineer that it's going to be
Not
very
the Board of
lengthy.
Adjustments, the planning board, because it's a right-of-way?
Right.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I think so.
And I would assume it then goes to the commission.
It does, so that's going to be a while, right?
So June cutoff gives us.
Well,
Where are
I
you
can't-
in this process?
my understanding is that back either December or January, my client was working with the city and got the vacate of right-of-way process started, but she was told that it takes typically 6 months at least, and so, that sounds
Okay.
consistent with them having it teed up for the planning board fairly soon, and then it
Okay.
goes to.
Well, I mean, we can't, I mean, if that's what we're waiting on, that's what we're waiting
Do
on.
you know how long that structure's been there?
No, I don't. But, I know what happened was that originally they thought the right-of-way wasn't there. And now the survey shows,
Oh,
and
okay.
the city's sent out their surveyors, everybody agrees that it needs to happen. It's just a matter of getting everything through the usual process.
What kind of structure is that?
Basically a shed, storage shed, I
A
believe.
storage shed.
I mean, that's,
Is there a concrete pad under there, or?
Doesn't look like it.
I don't
Doesn't.
believe. Well, there's some sort of a pad under it, but it's under it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't come
So
out.
it wouldn't move, I can't tell, like, how deep it is, or where the right-of-way is, or?
Well, if you look to the right in the picture, you
Mm-hmm.
see a dark, sort of a wooden, like railroad ties.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I believe that's approximately where the right-of-way is.
So the fence is not on the right-of-way?
The fence is within the right-of-way. In fact, the original fence in there,
My
which
goodness.
is just on the other side of the white fence there, the original chain link, appears to have been there at least since the 60s.
Yeah.
All the neighbors maintain that fence collectively, so
All right.
it's
All right, any other questions or comments from the board? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow the respondent until 5/31 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Motion, Ms. Roby, second?
Second.
I had thought we were looking at July there.
Second, Ms. Himes. Well, let's, I mean, 2 months goes by and an update wouldn't be unreasonable at that time. I mean, I don't know, that's how I feel.
Um,
What say the city?
The staff recommended the June, so that is what, April to May to, so it is 2 months. I misspoke. I
okay.
did say 3, but it actually, because we're expecting to have more of an update within the 2 months that I can provide
Okay,
at that time.
All right.
all right. All in favor, so we have a motion and a second to amend till 5:31. The meeting is 6:08, by the way.
Right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed. Motion carries. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll go ahead. That's all I have.
Okay.
See you next month, 2 months.
All right. Now we'll go back to case number 1.
Thanks
CEB,
for taking me.
anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay,
I just
thank
said
you.
thanks.
CEB 07-22-161. Liliosa Bohinski Estate at 401 and 401 North Oleander LLC. Okay, so the respondent's not here. Good. Well, now you're not Mr. John Batiste. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Good morning, Inspector Stenson, Code Enforcement. I will be standing in for Inspector Baptiste for this
Okay.
particular case.
Okay. All right, well, have anybody, what would you like to tell them? Tell us, have you had contact or,
Inspector Baptiste reports that he has had contact. He is not sure if the property is occupied. He says there has been progress. The roof has been completed, and the permits just need to be finalized. The owner needs to contact the building department for the inspection. And he is recommending to amend to the May cutoff.
that's 2 months from now?
That's the
1
next
month.
cutoff.
Oh, okay, the May meeting, okay, sorry. Any comments from the board?
Well, I think we have to accept that, seeing neither of the parties are here.
This is the one that the lady was living there, her caregiver. So, I don't know why she didn't show up. She showed up every other day.
Right. Well, isn't there but there's a new owner right now, right?
He has the owner, Liliosa?
So that is the new owner.
Well, she was the older lady that passed away.
State, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her estate, but who's the new owner? The 401 North Oleander LLC? Yes, okay. Okay, any comments? Okay. Any comments from the board? Any more? All right, Chair will entertain a motion in previous order, non-compliance, and allow respondent until May 3rd to come into compliance to be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby.
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case number 2. Mr. Sykes, this is your case. This is case number 2, CEB 02-23-26. Arana Gert Zutage. Respondent present? Okay. Hasn't been present. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Sykes.
Good morning. And I'm standing in for Mark Jones today. So since the last hearing, he's been in contact with the architecture, also permits and licensing, and there's a hearing, a Board of Adjustment hearing scheduled for May 18th
Okay.
And staff request amended to the June cutoff.
Okay. I just want to look at these pictures. Any comments from the board? Oh, I remember this one, yeah. Okay, no comments. The board will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until May 3rd to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day.
I think we have to go to the 31st, June.
Oh, now we're doing June. I'm sorry, all these, the cutoff for May is May 3rd, the meeting is May 11th, the cutoff for the June is 5/31. So I'm just getting, I'll get used to this in 1 second. All right. Allow respondent until 5/31 to come into compliance to be returned to a subsequent meeting for a fine of up to $1,000 per day. That's a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 3, CEB 01-23-02. Respondent, Lawler and Drew. Respondent present? No. Okay, they were here the last time, I guess. What can you tell us, Mr. Stenson?
Good morning.
Good m-
John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. My qualifications are on file. Since the last hearing, I have been in contact, received email from this property owner. Her email was just stating the fact that her soffits were on order. She does now have the business,
Okay, the beat.
business tax for the
Okay.
business. The address numbers are there. However, the parking issue remains uncorrected. She would, or she is of the opinion that she has some sort of agreement with the city about the parking in the business there. I don't know anything about that, haven't heard anything about it. Nobody's contacted me about it. So, property remains in noncompliance, and the city is asking for the imposition of a fine of $100 per day to be capped at $10,000.
Questions? So because it's a corner lot, I mean, we have so many problems with corner lots.
Mhm.
They think it's okay to have it behind, and it's actually considered on the front because the corner lot has 2 fronts. Or what?
Be honest with you, I don't know their reasoning for it. She was adamant that she had some sort of agreement with the city
But
from
hasn't
way back.
hasn't produced that.
Has not produced that at all.
And did she say she didn't even say what department it was with?
No, ma'am. And business or not, the parking is not permitted, not in the way that she's doing it. She's parking on an unimproved surface, and she's got a driveway right there.
Oh, so it's 2 issues. It's the kayaks and the car.
Yes, actually, the kayaks we would consider outside storage, but she's got concrete pads and all of that. We have to investigate that part a little bit more, this kayak issue.
So we gave them, last time, 2 months.
That's
right.
correct. And this case has been going on for 9 months now.
Comments from the board?
I just wish to take city's recommendation and fine her. I mean, if she can't prove who she talked to with the city to
Right.
have an arrangement for the parking, then she don't have an arrangement.
All right.
If it's not in writing, we don't have an arrangement.
All right. We don't have any proof of that,
Correct.
or we don't know what department she's contacted.
That's correct.
What would you like, Mr. Jackson?
Yeah. Madam Chair, members of the board, Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city. Madam Chair, there was a change in the law back in 2021 that kind of allowed more things for businesses. We need to look into a little bit more on the issue of the kayak. One of the things that is consistent in the law is that if it's not permitted in the residential, such as the parking situation in a residential area, it's not permitted for a home business as well. So we know that as it relates to the parking issue, that is still an issue of noncompliance. As to the kayaks, it's a little bit different as the way we look at
The
the
car
changes
issue
in the
is
law.
pretty clear.
Yeah, so if the decision is going to be based on the car issue, that's fine. If we're going to start making that decision more on the kayak, we'd ask to continue it to just look into that a little further.
Did she ever give you a reason for why she hasn't moved the car? When was this picture taken?
I can't see the date on the
I can't
picture.
either.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
That's from December.
There's Christmas stuff out front.
Yeah, December.
And the last time I visited the property was on March 15th,
Okay.
and it was in the same condition.
And she never tried to explain why it was okay to park, she thought it was okay to park the car in the grass.
Correct.
She said that last time that she had an agreement.
Hasn't moved it.
Yeah, and we don't have any evidence of the agreement.
Okay, well, any other comments? Ms. Roby has made a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day up to $10,000 effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of, I already said that, 10K. All right. Is there a second? We have second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, now we'll move on to case 4 is in compliance. Case 5, CEB 02-23-31, Manuel Corbea. Good morning.
Manuel Corbea,
Have
445.
sworn in, I'm sorry.
You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And now you state your name and address for the record, please.
Manuel Corbea, 445 Zelda Boulevard.
Okay. If you could speak up just a little tiny bit
I'm sorry.
for those of us that are a little old. Okay, what can you tell us, Mr. Stenson? And then we'll give you a chance to talk.
Since the last hearing, I have been in contact with this property owner. It is progressing slowly, but it is. The renovation permit is on hold right now. They are requesting some corrections, so I'd like to amend this case to the next cutoff.
Okay.
Mr. Corbea, is this your third, fourth, or fifth visit?
This is, I believe, the third.
Third?
Yeah. Permits have been going very slowly. We turned in a bunch of papers before,
I know.
and we forgot like one form, so they didn't look at anything.
Right.
And now we turned in that form, and so now they're going to be looking at it again.
So now you're being expert in the neighborhood to tell them how to get through the system.
Okay. Any other comments? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5/3 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck. Case number 6, CEB, this is Mr. Butler's case, CEB 03-23-46, Brianna Johnson. witnesses. Okay, respondent present? Nope. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Butler.
Good morning. Inspector Butler, credentials on file with the City of Daytona Beach. As pertains to 1344 Cedar Bluff, since last month court proceedings, I've had no contact with the property owner. However, her significant other did contact me on, I think it was Tuesday. As you can see, they did not remove the fence. They removed a portion of it, but as you can see, it's still dilapidated. Staff requests $100 a day to the maximum of $10,000.
What did the boyfriend say?
He told me that the fence will be removed this past weekend, and upon my inspection on Monday, it was not removed. And those boards down there, they have nails sticking all up in them. The neighbor called me yesterday, and that's a concern as well, because kids play all back there, so they have a lot of work to do.
Okay, the only thing we're considering right now is the dilapidated fencing.
They have,
Let
I'm
me
sorry,
ask you, are those vines that are, or rope?
those are vines. They have to remove, that fence has to go.
Yeah, okay, okay.
And those, if I may, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Those photos are from April 10th,
Those photos,
one that we're looking at here.
the ones that you're looking at, they're actually from Tuesday, the 10th, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Any comments from the board?
I motion that we accept the city's.
Okay. Ms. Himes has made a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10K. Is there a second to that? Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 7, CEB 02-23-25, Malik Art, LLC.
Morning, Board.
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Roger Davis, address 6167 Harbortown Court, Orlando, Florida.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And what is your relationship to Malik Art?
I'm the owner, manager of the property.
All right. What can you tell us, Mr. Butler?
Okay, as it pertains to 934 West Millard Court, since last month court proceedings, I've had contact with the property owner. They have applied for the renovation permit. However, the city has requested additional information, which I believe was submitted this week. And I want the board to know that this is not a project that can be completed in a few days. This particular property has been like that for several years. And this young man has purchased it, and he's in the process of turning it into something beautiful.
Okay.
So staff requests to amend to the June cutoff.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
Just wanted to reiterate, I'm just having some difficulties with the city, just trying to get the permits processed. Everything, it has been submitted this week, and just currently just waiting for the permits to pass through so we can.
Okay, and then you can start working on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So really nothing's been done because you can't do anything without the permits? Nothing in the list has been done?
Well, as you can see, this picture, go to, I think the picture, not that one, that one.
Okay.
So basically, they cut the trees out in the
Okay.
front, just did what they could.
Right.
Things that did not require permit.
Any comments from the board?
There's one couple doors up that's the same, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Each unit, it's a layout of two separate designs.
All right.
So the house to the left, the second house going to the left, this way.
Yeah.
It's the same design layout as as
Is
my
that
house.
yours too?
No, ma'am.
I just remember we had two.
Right. Okay, any other comments? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5:31 to come into compliance, be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
Question. I thought he asked for June.
He did, but the cutoff is
Okay.
the end of May.
Okay.
Okay, did you make a motion, Ms. Roby? Second? Second, Ms. Himes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right, good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Butler, I want to not thank you, but commend you on your joining the Gourmet Dining Club. Your
please.
pictures in the paper eating at lunch at the Brick House.
Right. They
It's in
took a
today's
big, oh,
paper.
yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. Get
I
that.
can't afford
That's
to
true.
eat there myself. but
Yes, sir.
Okay. Case number 8, CEB 09-22-226, Vanna Sherris. Respondent present? No. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Yates.
Good morning. Inspector Yates, Neighborhood Services, my credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, I've had contact, and the owner continues to work to attempt to find a company to remove the old oil tank. He does have under contract for the demo of the house itself, but that can't take place till they find someone to remove the oil tank. I'd like to amend to the next cutoff to hopefully allow that to happen.
What did he tell me?
So there's an old oil tank in there that needs to be removed before they can demo the house.
Correct.
Okay.
And he's got his contract with the demo company?
Sam Sula, yeah. And it's certainly not for lack of trying. I mean, I know even our own permit department didn't have any more leads for him to go down.
Except for him to get out there and dig it up himself.
Yeah, you know, it feels like it's getting to that point. I don't know if the EPA would like that, but yeah.
Who needs to do that? Do we know?
It would need, I believe, to be a specially licensed contractor. I honestly, I don't have any leads for him either. The companies that I spoke with weren't willing to do residential. They were only willing to do commercial.
Okay.
Probably because of if something happened and it spilled.
And maybe too close. I'm not quite sure, honestly.
Huh. Okay. All right. So you're recommending to 5:31, right?
Yes.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance, allow respondent until 5:31 to come into compliance, be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Roby and a second from Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Case number 9, CEB 03-23-44, Donald T. Watrick. No respondent. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Garcia.
Good morning, Inspector Garcia. Credentials on file with the city. This property, I had no contact with the owner. It is occupied by some squatters. Progress has been made in getting the water turned on. I spoke to utilities and they verified the water has not been turned on. Staff's recommending a fine of $100 a day, capped at $15,000.
Does the code department notify the police when there's?
Police have been on the property before.
Okay.
I can tell you that I spoke to the squatters and there's no lease. They weren't able to show me a lease. I checked the tax roll and the tax have been paid. 11/29/2022 was the last time. I also had to make postings not only for my notice of hearing, notice of violation, but also notice of hearing.
You said the taxes had been paid 2000?
Yeah, the last time was back in November 29, 2022, and it's not homesteaded.
Oh, it's not
No, it's not homesteaded, no,
I
okay.
think $100 a day is enough.
That's our
That's their recommendation, would tell,
going rate. that
let's hear
we
what
start with.
everybody thinks. Is that enough?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, squatter, I mean, it does,
We'll make them.
all right, we'll make a motion for another amount of money. Anybody, what's anybody think?
I motion that we do 200.
I don't think it's gonna
A month.
do a bit of good.
I mean, 200.
It's not gonna get the squatters out that you find the owner.
We just need to get their attention.
Yeah, well,
Well, you know, I don't think we,
they'll have
Okay.
their attention in 30 days. They'll have $3,000 fine. But it doesn't matter, whatever.
okay, so
just
you're
don't
you're
see-
just saying, all right,
You know, I'm
so,
not opposed to
Maybe I'll
raising the
just
fine, but
ignore
I
it,
just
my
don't see that, I don't
What?
necessarily
I'll
agree.
ignore my motion. I motion for 200 per day.
okay, all right. So Ms. Himes has made a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000.
Have-
Is there a
have you ever-
second?
Excuse me, have you ever talked to the owner?
No,
No.
that's what I
So
said,
we
that I
don't
have
even know
not.
if he's alive,
Well,
like with so many properties.
Well, you would know it because it would be in his estate.
Yeah, it would be in
I
his
guess
estate.
that died, yeah.
I don't know, we just keep doing this over and over and over.
well, you know, there's not a whole lot more we can do. I mean, that's what the, right? I mean, what else can we do?
I don't know what the rights of the squatters are. They can't be arrested if they're told they're squat.
I
illegally
think
there? I have
that,
no
but
idea.
that's not really
It's not an issue in front of us.
the issue in front of us, the squatters. The issue in front of us is that nobody's been in contact, nobody's done anything.
Okay, if it's not
Nobody
the-
has been able
not
to
the
get in
issue,
touch
you
with
shouldn't
anybody.
ask if there's any about it. I mean, you can't ask about something and then say that's not the issue when somebody,
Okay.
because it was asked whether.
Yeah, I did. I asked him, because Danny said there were squatters in it. Squatters can be an issue for a whole neighborhood.
Yes, and it's an
And-
issue for the whole community.
Or the whole
and
community, correct.
We're not going to solve it, but.
No, we're not
certainly
going to.
Pass the message on, and it makes it difficult for us to make rulings when we don't even know what is going on, and I'm tired of it.
Okay.
Well,
We
he
just
pa-
keep
he-
going in
He paid his
circles.
taxes, so we know
Yeah,
he's living, or somebody.
Somebody's paying it.
Right, so he paid his taxes.
So he did pay the taxes. All right, so we have a motion to fine him $200 a day. Did we have a second to that?
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Roby. Any other discussion?
I think the fine should be higher.
What?
I think the fine should be higher.
You think the fine should be higher? Okay. You want to, well, let's vote on this motion. And then, because we have a motion and a second on the floor. So all those in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Like sign opposed.
Nay.
Okay. So motion passes
Motion
5,
carries.
6 to 1, right? 5 to 1. All right. Another case, 10, is in compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Case 11, CEB 03-23-40, Jared Chen Wan. Anyone here? Okay. Good morning. Mr.
Good morning, Madam Chair,
Alderman.
members of the board. For the record, my name is Steve Alderman, Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Daytona Beach, and then my credentials are on file. This case, since last hearing, I've had no contact with the owner. There has been no progress. Property remains vacant. It's never been a rental. And as of April 12, 2023, the violations remain. Staff requests a fine of $100 per day to a total of $10,000.
Mr. Alderman, yeah, I guess they do. I was gonna ask that someone lived there, but they do.
No, it says vacant, but they store cars there.
Oh,
Nothing has moved in this piece of property for numerous years. My postings are still on the door for every action that we've taken.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
This property is homesteaded?
Pardon?
It's homesteaded?
That I didn't check on. It's been so long. I had hoped that the postings would attract some attention, but nothing's happened.
so are you saying that those vehicles have been there all year or something?
A couple of years, yes. The tags are expired, the tires are flat.
Even on that Florida one, the Florida car, that one?
Yes,
That one hasn't moved either.
no.
Is it possible to look up to see whether this is homesteaded?
It is.
It is, okay. Any other comments?
Maybe somebody needed to do a wellness check.
Yeah.
So you want to increase the fine to get their attention?
I think 200 is enough for now, and if they don't,
100 or 200?
I said 200.
200.
I think if they don't reply, then we can go up higher.
And since it's homesteaded, it stops automatically at 10, since it's homesteaded.
Well, Madam Chair, I'll remind you and the board, it's not, the evaluation is not whether or not it's homesteaded, but whether or not it was owner occupied. So was it owner occupied? That's our last knowledge of the property. And to our last knowledge, we never known for it to be income property. And so.
So it just means it's not income property. It doesn't mean it's homesteaded.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's homesteaded. The question is, was it owner occupied? I believe that's how our document refers to it, as well as from when we adopted that practice. And so either now or has been owner occupied. When I say has been, our last known use of the property was being used as owner occupied property.
But that means it's homesteaded, if it's owner occupied, correct?
Well, you don't have to.
Not necessarily.
No.
No, you don't have to homestead a property.
No, but it's tax-wise, it's.
Well, it would make sense to do that, but, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to.
So is there an alternative address on the property appraiser's website?
Nothing that I have found, nothing. It's very strange.
Mailing
No
address.
neighbors have come out to talk to you when you've been there to say,
I talked to both of them, and they weren't really very cooperative. I know that it has, from what I can see, it has not been broken into yet.
I will point out too, if I may, Madam Chair, to the board, that whether it's 10,000 or 15,000, it would still be effective for the consideration of foreclosure once the fine is.
Right.
Lien has been imposed for, or
Right.
fine has been imposed for 3 months.
I mean, like Miss Marsh says, can we get a wellness check? Maybe there is somebody inside. I mean, we don't know.
Well, you would have smelled something and all that.
That's true. I mean, it's been awful long
I
time.
know, that, well,
Even though it's overgrown, somebody's been taking care of it some point, because the grass isn't,
That's just weed and they don't grow any taller, maybe?
I don't know.
It doesn't look like it's being taken care of in
No,
any way.
it's all
No.
messed up.
Anyway, nothing has moved on the property.
But you said 200?
yes.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Himes to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved. And a second from Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case number 12, CEB 02-23-28, Bobby Caldwell. Mr. Caldwell here? No? Okay.
Since last hearing, I've had no contact with the owner. There has been no progress. Last occupancy was an evicted tenant. Property remains vacant as of 4/12. The violations remain, and the property does remain secure. I have had historically communications with Mr. Bobby Caldwell and his ex-attorney. He's in Kansas City, Missouri, and the conversations have been marginal as far as capabilities of understanding what's going on. He's at the borderline, from what his attorney said, of transitory living, even in Kansas City. He doesn't know what's going on. A lot of people have tried to buy this looking for cheap ways to backdoor it, but it's a mess.
So there's no one living in it now, right?
Correct.
And it is secure.
At this point, yes, from what I can see. It's a big house. I cannot see the rest of it.
So,
So this Bobby Caldwell, he has an attorney,
Had,
had an attorney?
because there was a police eviction of the previous tenants. So she helped him with that.
But the attorney's here in Daytona, not up in Missouri.
Correct.
So we don't know what kind of mental state this person in Missouri is.
Her opinion was marginal.
well, it's like some of these other cases, there is not much that this board can do about that.
No.
We might feel bad about it, but something's got to be done with the property. And it'll probably, all of these properties will probably reach their maximum, and a lien will be put on them, and it either gets somebody's attention or it doesn't. And there again, there's not that much we can do about it.
Did you check the taxes on this one by any chance, if they were paid last year or they're behind?
The taxes have been paid up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, see?
All right, well, what's your recommendation, Steve?
100 per day to a cap of 15,000 because of its rental history.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
City's recommendation. CEB 0223-28.
Okay, motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches maximum $15,000. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. Any discussion? I'm thinking that's why we're not doing 200 on this one is beyond me. I'm probably going to vote against the 100, so let's have a vote on it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed would be me.
Nay.
Nay. And
Roll
Mr.
call. Let's have a roll call vote.
All right, let's have a roll call vote.
Mr. Harrington?
Nay.
Ms. Marsh?
Yay.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Ms. Roby?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
No?
Mr. Meehan?
No.
Okay, so that's a tie vote, isn't it?
Tie vote.
Tie vote.
Motion fails.
Motion fails. Okay.
Well, I'll resubmit submit a motion for 200 per day.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to impose a fine of $200 per day, effective today, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Motion from Ms. Roby, second from Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, this is case number 13, CEB 01-23-22, Erlene Malone and Shirley Bias. Anyone here? Okay, Mr. Alderman.
Since last hearing, there has been no contact. There has been maintained, the property has been maintained. I have a letter received from Mr. Bill Orender, Redevelopment and Neighborhood Services Housing Program Delivery Specialist, City of Daytona Beach. Staff request to amend to the July cutoff.
Okay, so this is on the rehab list.
Correct.
Where it's been since 2020.
Yes.
And it's a city program. Does the city give us any indication of when this might be finished?
Well, the last time I talked to Mr. Orender, she's getting closer to the top. And historically, I have one that took 3 years to come into compliance.
Yeah, well, we're working on that here, because even if it gets approved, there's going to be time to do all that, so we're getting right up there. All right, so you're recommending the July 5th cutoff?
Correct.
Okay,
Make a motion to accept the city's recommendation.
okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Roby and a second from Mr. Harrington to amend the previous order of non-compliance and allow respondent until July 5th to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have case number 14 is in compliance. Case number 15 is in compliance. Our next case is number 16. CEB 04-20-84, Larry Sanders. Mr. Sanders here? Okay. Ms. Kirk, what can you tell us?
Okay, oh, Mr. Sanders is here.
Oh, good. Good morning. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Larry Sanders, 721 Loomis.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right, we'll let Ms. Kirk speak and then you can speak.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, since the last hearing, there hasn't been any progress. Mr. Sanders, he is on the city's waiting list for housing services, rehab. He's on the rehab waiting list, excuse me. He's still awaiting service. I just got an update from Mr. Orender in the housing program department. So we would like to ask to amend to the July cutoff for compliance.
This one was cases from 2019. And here
Well,
we are in 2023.
I will tell you that Mr. Orender told me that they are just finishing up the cases that are on the waiting list from 2018, and they're getting ready to start on 2019.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of a light there.
A little bit.
Going
Okay.
cracking.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Sanders, what would you like to say?
You know, if you ever been in a place, if you've ever been in a restaurant for so long, so many times, you know what they do? They call you by your name. I've been here 5 years.
Wow.
You're like
Yeah.
my friend now.
5 years. I've been in this place 5 years. You know what the people,
And you know what?
you know what the people say? They
We,
call me by my
we
name now.
appreciate the fact that you come in every time, and
call
it
me-
actually helps us a great deal to know that you care about your property
Yes, ma'am.
and that you're coming here, and we
I've been
appreciate
here so long, they call me by my name.
we appreciate the fact that you're coming in.
Hey, well, I just want to say something.
What?
It's a word I really don't like to use because the last time I used that word, I had a kid. Could y'all please help me?
That's right. Well,
Please.
I'm hoping for your sake that you get moved pretty close
Please.
to the top of that
That's the
list.
magic word, please.
I know, I
Hopefully
know.
July you'll get that answer.
And there's nothing, there really is just, we are limited in what we can do here except to give you the time
Yes,
that's
ma'am. I'm just
needed.
using the magic word, please.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you, boss.
We haven't voted yet, but, to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/5, yes,
Yes, please.
to come into compliance and be returned to the board for a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second? Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. There you go.
Appreciate you.
See you, Larry.
Okay, we heard case 17. Case 18, CEB 02-21-44, Mr. Keith Thomas.
Okay, Mr. Thomas asked me to let you know that he had a doctor's appointment today, or else he would have been here.
Yeah, he
And he
tried to,
apologized.
he was here last time and we didn't get to his case soon enough and he had to leave. Okay.
Okay, so since the last hearing, there has been a demo permit application put in. It was applied for on March 23rd of 2023. So once the home has been demolished and the permit final, then I'll be able to close this case.
But there is a permit for demolition.
Yes, so there actually is a permit application in.
Okay.
So we would like to amend to the July cutoff for compliance.
Okay. Chair will entertain any comments from the board? Looks like it might fall down before
Yeah.
it gets demolished, but okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/5 to come into compliance, 7/5/23, or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
7.
Case number 19, CEB 07-21-223. Tracy Smith?
Yep. Okay, since she's also on the city's waiting list, she is on the rehab waiting list, and she has been on that list June 17th of 2019. I have spoken with Ms. Smith, and she's unable to be here today because she didn't want to miss work. So I'd like to also ask to amend to the July cutoff on this one for compliance.
Okay. Comments from the board?
She couldn't possibly come into compliance by the July cutoff. Why do we bother just doing 60 days?
April, May, May to June.
mean,
Look,
it's
I was doing it 3 months. That's 3 months. April to May, May to June, June.
Well,
to
Yeah.
okay.
Not quite, but even then, 3 months. Even if she got the money today,
Well,
I mean, I just don't see,
I know, it does seem like we're just spinning our wheels on this and we have no control over it, what the city is doing or how they're funding this or, I think that we need I don't know, I prefer periodic updates on things like this. rather than once every 6 months. Once every 3 months seems to be okay with me. Any other
I
comments?
have a question for Ms.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Kirk, she is the one that said she got the loan and she fixed the roof.
Right, she did the roof.
Waited for 3 years or something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I do know, on that street, Ian hit it pretty hard, so, I
Yeah.
mean, there was some serious damage out there.
With
Water
flooding?
was- Yeah.
Yeah,
water was
okay.
3 feet,
Yeah. Well,
so.
I mean, I'm not making an issue out of it, but it just
I know,
doesn't.
I get
We've
what you
heard-
mean.
I mean, logically, they're not going to have this completed in 3 months. 4 months,
A year.
well,
They haven't
a year's too long, but that's probably
know,
what
but
it's
they-
going to take.
I mean, these places, I agree with you, these places have been on this list since 2018. So I don't think maybe I'm wrong, maybe every.
Trying to put the deadlines is when they finally get the loan, and then you say,
All right, so, I mean, we certainly can start doing, 6 months updates if that's, what does anybody think? What do the attorneys think? What does Mr.
I
Weir?
think we should with the city because they're back behind and we keep running.
4 or 5 years behind.
maybe we should find the city.
Is there any objection from code? Is Mr.
Yeah, look, for
Is
Mr. Sykes,
Denzel
without
here?
his input, I wouldn't have a
Right.
view on this.
You don't have a view. Let's see, is Denzel around?
Well, are we doing any damage? Are we delaying anything by simply having a longer?
Nope,
period?
no.
Can't think of anything like
No.
that.
6 months if
Make
you
a
want.
motion.
No, you can go 6 months. Wouldn't go any longer than that, though.
Yes.
All right, so the advice of the attorney is not to go longer than 6 months.
I know, but we can go to 6 months. I motion that we extend the time for this one for 6 months.
All right, we do have a motion on the floor from Ms. Himes to extend it to 6 months, but I'd like to hear from.
Second.
And a second from Mr. Harrington, but I'd really like to hear what Mr. Sykes has to think about this.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to hear it directly from him, but he's good, he's fine with
Yeah, I do want to hear from him.
Yeah, I think pushing it out 6 months, several months is fine. If it comes to compliance, they'll never come back in. So I
Right.
think that'll help
Okay.
the agenda as well.
Madam Chair, my understanding is, at least at the stage that we're at now, and I guess that's what many of these, they're at, where they've done the things they had to do, and they're only at a waiting stage.
Correct.
I would think if we have circumstances where they're still in the processing stage.
Correct.
We may need to want to come back.
Exactly. I mean, this isn't automatic,
Yeah, this is.
but as long as you've applied and it's been verified that there's been an application made to get help from the rehab department, then I think the 6 months is good. So, we have a motion and a second to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until, would that be
11/1, I think.
11/1? Okay.
Yeah.
2023 to come into compliance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. That'll help. That'll unclog the agenda a little bit too, because there are many of these cases, that come back and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, case number 20 here, same deal. 02-22-65, Kirk Murphy and Don Roberts. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Kirk.
Okay, since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Murphy. He's also on the roofing list and rehab list. They're still waiting for service, and he's been on the list since November 30th of 2021, so this one's going to be a while.
Right.
I have spoken to Mr. Murphy and said you need to maintain the yard and maintain that it's a secured structure, and he promised me that he would get it done this week.
All right,
So-
now, this property has been condemned.
I believe there was a squatter issue in the back. There may be like a shed in the back, so I believe that was the reason for the condemnation.
But is there a current condemnation on this property? I don't think of condemnation, I mean, maybe, I just don't know if condemnation applies to squatters or whether it applies to the building or both or in either.
I believe it was because there were no utilities, it was one of those issues, but I can double check really quick for you just to make sure.
So really, this rehab could be demolition?
To bring the case into compliance, it can be. Because,
To be brought into compliance,
correct.
right.
And it would close our case.
Vacant, or is he living, because it's got that boarded door, so.
It is vacant, or it should be vacant.
It's vacant and secured.
There were actually.
Vacant and secured, okay.
Okay, in December, the property was condemned, and it actually, it says dilapidated structure.
Right.
And then it says that Officer Lamp stated someone was appearing to be living in the shed. So.
That was in
But-
December.
And that was in December, and then that's the only thing that's,
So that was squatters again.
So do we know if the shed is vacant and secured? Or just the house?
that I don't know at this time. I can get with Sergeant Blowers to see if he can assist me with that.
Okay.
But then also I have spoken to Mr. Murphy and let him know that he needs to have that secured and, you know, be maintaining the yard while he's on the city's waiting list.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
If it's condemned, how can he be on a roofing and rehab list?
That's what I was trying
Yeah,
to.
Well, because condemnation doesn't automatically mean demolition. There are means where it can be, and I know from former board attorney that handles
Okay,
that.
go ahead.
Sino also is the board attorney for the building code board, but there are circumstances where it can be rehabilitated depending on the nature of the conditions of the structure. So I don't know what decisions have been made back then, but apparently at least it was enough that someone has made a consideration of the funds to
But if we're 5 years out and it was condemned back in 2021 or 2020, how is 5 years from now gonna leave much of a structure to rehab?
True.
Yeah, and I'm not speaking to the future, I don't know that. I
Right.
don't know if it's gonna be 5 years, so if someone's gonna.
And we
come
don't
with
know
big pile of
whether-
money and
okay.
take care of it for the city.
So,
But
Someone
Madam
went
Chair,
with
didn't we have a
deep
case
pockets.
like this with the young lady, remember her house was down, and she was on the waiting list forever? But now she have it fixed.
mm-hmm.
That was the case.
But also, Madam Chair, if I can say, that the concern regarding the squatter, our hope is that there's no squatter on it. If indeed the property is still under condemnation, they would be trespassed, then they would not be there. Or at least would be making them leave. When we can't trespass them is when we have the issue.
I
But
see.
once it's condemned, then they would be made to leave if they have no legal interest.
Oh.
There is an owner who has the ability to prevent them from being there, and I guess that's what the staff is requesting, that to put that onus on the owner to ensure that no one's in the property as this property continues, as they continue to wait on the services that they're anticipating. We'll move on to demolition. That's something.
But something we don't know.
Wait and see.
So, okay. So do we want to consider this through the 6-month rule or the 3-month rule to let some of these problems, see if these problems that can be addressed are still being addressed, like maintaining the yard and making sure that there are no squatters there.
Well, myself, I think since this here action to be taken is imposed fine, I feel that we should impose a fine and make this man move on his,
Condemnation?
condemnation of the building itself. I mean, everybody else is waiting 5 years for the rehab list.
Right.
We know it's not going anywhere quick. That house doesn't look like it's gonna stand for 5 more years, and all it is a disaster to the neighborhood. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Can we see the pictures again? Please, thank you.
I mean, this man is living somewhere, so he has some kind of means. I don't know what the answer is, but I just feel sorry for their neighbors looking at this every day. And they've been looking at it for 3 years already.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, but it'll still be there.
Yeah, he's not doing nothing to it.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could come to an answer on some of this?
Yeah.
After all the
Isn't
14
they on the
years and
list,
still
though?
arguing the same issue.
they-
Yes, he is on the list, correct?
Right.
Ms. Kirk? Yeah, he is on the list.
How did he get on the list if the property's
Yeah,
that
he's not
crummy?
making any effort to keep it decent looking, to wait for it.
Well, maybe he got on the list in 2021. I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine what the inside looks like if those lines look like that?
So and he's got a no trespassing sign up, but no, he has been on the rehab list since November 2021. Who
And it
knows
was
if,
condemned last December.
and when was it condemned?
December.
2021?
Yep. No, I'm sorry, December 2022. It was just condemned the end of last year. I just spoke with Denzel, and we have a new recommendation to amend it to the June cutoff, just to make sure that he's been doing what we're asking him to do, which is keep the structure secured and maintain the lawn.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
Madam
Now,
Chair,
go ahead.
I move that we accept the recommendation from Ms. Kirk. And,
All right, we have a motion on the floor to accept the city's recommendation to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 7/5 to come into compliance or be returned to to a subsequent meeting for a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Do we have a second to that? Motion fails for lack of second. I'm kind of thinking that it doesn't need 3 months to clean up the property and to secure the property and to, those are my feelings.
but Madam Chair, I could see we insist on the yard, but when they get in that program, they actually tell them they don't do anything to the house themselves.
Well, nobody's asking him to do anything to the house, but they could certainly maintain the yard
Madam Chair.
and secure the property. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, one of the things I just was discussing with the inspector is, what we think we'd like to do is maybe see if we can get the person that's now doing the program to come in at the next meeting in our miscellaneous business and maybe answer some of these questions for you, give you a better understanding of how the program is.
That's probably a great idea.
I mean, we did this
A rehab
before through the
person
workshop
come in.
a number
Yeah.
of years ago, and it's a different person. and
Right,
Some of the
okay.
considerations and questions like.
Right,
what
it
Ms.
was a
Thompson
number
brought
of
up.
years ago that we did that, and that was even before the pandemic and before everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
and that all those considerations are fair questions. And
Yeah.
so at least understanding what criteria they look at
Right.
and how it's a change in priority based on the
Right.
conditions. And so there's
Right.
things that we really don't have
Right.
those answers, and I think it'd be useful in terms of the time period
I
you'll want to
agree.
consider.
I absolutely.
Unless there's an ordinance of some kind, I don't think these programs can turn around and say they can violate code and don't have to maintain the yard.
Oh, agree 100%.
Don't have to, they have no right to do that.
Right, if they're violating other things, I mean,
Right.
we're still, the structural things is our problem, right?
Right.
That's the ones where they're getting promise and where the agency becomes an aid to trying to resolve the
Right.
structural conditions. And so the structural conditions are, unfortunately, by appearance at least, seems to have to remain to a certain extent
Right.
until they get to it and actually start doing what they need to do.
But-
That's the appearance. We need to hear what the program and understand how it's supposed to work. And maybe we're making assumptions that may not necessarily be.
Right, but it
consistent.
seems to me that at this point, we could certainly ask for the property to be secured and for the grass, the yard to be cleaned up.
Properly maintained.
I mean, that seems simple enough to me.
I mean, I could see that if he was actually being able to live in the house and maintain it, but he's just kind of like walked away, threw his hands up and said, I'm on a list, I don't have to do anything.
Well, we need to in my opinion, maybe we should let him know that he can do
Well,
something.
that's what I'm saying, maybe we should fine him, he can always do the lien review once he comes into compliance.
That's just going to complicate it, I
That's
think.
a lot of work.
I just think
This is ridiculous.
it is.
I just want to caution you that once we start putting liens and fines in place, sometimes it does
It'll kick 'em
mess
off
up the
the list.
system, kick out the
Yeah.
system too. So
Yeah.
just as you make your decisions,
Mhm.
just remember that.
I think the ultimate goal, and again, I'm probably a little bit beyond where I should be on this, but I think the ultimate goal is improvement of the space.
Correct.
And so many
If
times,
it's condemned, improvement would be demolition.
yeah, I was gonna say, many times.
Not
the
always.
fund may
No, not all the
sometimes
time.
deter someone from moving forward to what we're really looking for, which is the improvement of the space. Especially when you have the aid of a program or system, because many times it's monetary that's slowing down the improvements.
Well, I mean, I think we should,
Could we word it?
Uh,
What you do to get the yard clean? Because that's the only thing.
well, and securing the building,
Yeah.
the shed too, including the sheds.
Yeah, on this particular case.
Right.
That's what we need. The questions that, bringing in these people, it's about time to stop saying this is not our thing and this is not our things. Either we become private citizens then or something, but this 5 years on a waiting list is not achieving the goal that it's supposed to do. And a lot of these things in relation to Code Board were written with the intention of accomplishing something. And that was cleaning up the neighborhood,
Right.
improving it, allowing people to stay in their homes, all of those things. If those laws, as they're being enforced by us or the city or whoever, are not maintaining that, then they need to revisit those things. And some of us need to go and take a stand, at least as private citizens, since every time we say anything, that's not our prerogative.
But
I
we
think
can individually certainly,
It's just
Or as a group.
absolutely ridiculous to just keep doing this over and over and over for 14 years, basically in the same neighborhood. And just going on and
Right, it
taking
doesn't
people's
improve the
homes.
neighborhood.
And then
I
they
mean,
be,
if somebody was trying to sell their house in that neighborhood, I mean.
Right.
They're bringing the whole neighborhood down. So
Right.
somebody's gonna suffer because of this man's.
and as you pointed out, Ms. Roby, that in 5 years, the building could fall down. and it wouldn't be rehabbable.
The roof
Now, it certainly would cost the city more money to rehab it, if nothing else.
I want to help the people in
Right.
that neighborhood
Right,
that keep their homes
right.
and perpetuate the ownership if they want to, and not be subjected to this baloney affordable homes, which means tear down their home and sell it to some private developer, and he turns around and resells it for $250,000. I asked the lady, who cut me off, what an affordable home was that she was here and that was $150,000 to $250,000. That's not an affordable home for poor people. That is not an affordable home and will never be an affordable home. So if you want to have subsidized housing, I'm all in favor of it. But let's not keep taking people's property and turning it over to real estate development. Now, I've made a pitch and I shouldn't be doing that. I know all these things that are wrong and we'll get sued and all that baloney. But about time we achieve something here, and that's to perpetuate our neighborhoods and have safe communities and help the people get somewhere with maintaining their property. So if we're going to have programs, 5 years is ridiculous. And then they can't get insurance anyway. So I'm not interested in perpetuating the jobs of people that run all these programs. I want to perpetuate their programs. So I've had my say, but I'm just, God, are we going to keep doing this over and over?
We may ask the city manager for help we could call the city manager.
It would be real nice. I'm saying
just-
this
I
on
mean,
television.
we
If
did-
one single commissioner
We did
would
that
walk in
before.
here
I
and
know.
sit in one of these things.
Right.
In 14 years, there's been 4 commissioners ever sit in on this. And they know all about code enforcement, don't they? And the newspaper has never been here, and it's an expert on code enforcement.
Right.
And they've never sat here, they've never heard the people, they never heard the cases.
We got people.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. I just, I think that as individuals on the code board, we could. There's nothing to prevent us from going to the city management and requesting some action. We did that with the roof projects, remember? We talked to the city manager and the mayor.
The last
And
time
we got somewhere.
Last time we had a
Madam
meeting
Chair,
on
my
code
thing
enforcement.
is, we need to do something to get the yard clean, but
Yeah.
if there's no money there to do these buildings, then that's not really our problem. We just have to wait.
No, I think it is,
Once they
I
get on the list.
think keeping the yard decent, I mean, nobody's
And
saying he has
securing the
to
property.
plant grass on it,
But he needs to pull all that off the house.
But that-
The green stuff off
I
the
mean,
house.
he doesn't even have to hire anybody to do that work. And to have it secured, which is, basically putting a padlock on something or,
Clean up the dirt around the walls. I mean,
Okay,
there's all
but-
kinds of things he could do, but he's on a list, so he don't feel he needs to do anything.
Well, we can still, just because they're on the
Well-
list, I mean, we can't go forward.
right.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, we know the problem, so the solution is what we need to do. Maybe Ms. Kirk can just leave a thing for the yard and the securing
Right.
of the house.
Right.
Yeah, I agree,
Can
that's
we-
the solution for this particular.
All right, we need to get on the solution
Yeah,
for
it's
this
been over
case.
30
All right,
minutes.
so is it possible, as Mrs. Heim says, to
I'll make
rule,
a motion that we amend it to next month to see if he gets out there and cleans it up. Not 3-6 months down the road.
right, I mean, is there more we can do than that?
I think Ms. Kirk could notify him of that, or Mr. Jackson can send a letter to that effect. But we can't do anything about the waiting list.
No, except we can talk to the city. individually, we can talk to the city. It did work with the roofing. In a lot of cases, we got a lot more attention when we went to the mayor and the city manager, so, I mean, it's possible to get some changes. All right, so, I mean, I guess we're back to amending the previous order of noncompliance and allowing the respondent to come into compliance by next month, 5/3, or be returned to the board. I just wonder, is there any way we can separate out securing and
You can make a modification.
cutting the grass?
It'll be secured in 30 days. Put that in motion.
Okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5/3 to come into compliance,
Furthermore, to secure the property.
to secure the property and to
Cut the grass.
cut the grass or maintain the landscaping or so, that's too tough, but cut the grass or whatever.
Or just clean up the property.
No, that's too broad.
Maintain the landscaping is fine.
Just maintain
Well, the roof-
landscaping.
The trees growing out of the roof is not landscaping. And I think that needs to be addressed. Because that is, if that was my neighbor, I'd be burning down the house.
Can we get the property owner here next month? Vince, we need to get the person here.
I can ask.
Yeah, we can't make them come.
Believe me,
Neither will I, but I know, but we can't make them come.
I know, that may be the way we solve the problem, get him here.
Yeah, we've been on this over 30 years.
Yeah, I know, we're done. So is there a motion to do that?
I said so moved.
All right, Ms. Himes, second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington, all in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. It's a problem. Case number 21, CEB 01-22-39, Sarah Edwards and Devin Robinson. Good morning. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Good morning. My name is Devon Robinson.
Devon, okay.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Ms. Kirk, what's going on here?
Okay, since the last hearing, there's been no progress. The only contact I had was this week. After discussing with staff, staff is recommending a fine of $100 a day to a max of $10,000.
All right, now, so this case, you're Mr. Robinson, you live there, right?
No,
Is it vacant?
it's vacant.
Okay. So it's not owner occupied? No one lives there, right?
No
Vacant.
one lives there.
Okay. All right. All right, well, let's hear what you would like to say. We'll listen to you.
All right. So I've been working with the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, NACA, on this property. And we've kind of been spinning our wheels in the mud for a couple of months now. So most recently, I got this document from them, a contractor agreement. I met with my contractor by the property yesterday, and we're supposed to complete this contractor agreement, a project and draw schedule where we're supposed to outline what date we think each percentage of each line item in our bid that we submitted is going to be completed. And, yeah, I recently, well, actually last year, the beginning of 2022 is when I got, what do you call it, bought the property. When it was in my name, right, my name was added to Miss Edwards. And so-
What about Miss Edwards? Who is she?
She was a previous owner of the property.
Oh, so you're the new owner. When did
Yes.
you?
2022. January, by the end of
Okay.
January, 2022.
Okay.
So the original code fine was issued to her.
Yes.
Okay.
Code notice.
Right, code notice, not fine.
Whatever.
Code notice. Okay. All right.
Yes. And since then, we've gotten permits for the carport, building permits for the carport. I believe that would cover the carport and the doors.
Okay.
And also, we've gotten the window permit and the plumbing permit.
So you have all those permits from the city?
Yes.
So you're actually working on this property without waiting for
NACA?
NACA, right?
Yes, because I was aware of these code violations. and I
Right.
was trying to amend them by
Good.
myself. But at the same time, I'm in this process with NACA, and it's been going on for so long, for the
Right.
past year.
So when is the contractor, according to your paperwork, when is he gonna start?
So he's gonna start as soon as he gets approved to. Now, I was told that after I turn in these documents, it would take about a week to see whether I'm approved or not, or whether something
Approved
needs
by, you mean approved by the city?
No, approved by NACA
To be
and
put on, to be put on.
Bank
the
of
list.
America.
When
No,
you're
I think this
approved.
is different from the city list.
It is.
Yeah, this is
Definitely
this is
different than the city list,
Okay,
but it's still
a list.
a list, right?
Yeah. So it's gonna be that the week after this gets approved is when he thinks he'll be able to start.
So in order to get approved, you had to do, so how do you have permits? You went to the city and got permits? Are the permits on file?
The windows were installed, the permit was issued January 3rd of '23. It's still issued. The carport was only approved, and that was back in October.
Okay.
Since the last hearing, which was in January, nothing's been done, and the yard also has not been maintained.
That needs to happen, right?
I agree.
Okay. Whether or not you get the loans or the, what does NACA do for you? What are they, is it, grant money or?
Neighborhood.
Yeah, so basically, they fight against predatory lending, and so they try to get you houses on a lower interest rate, and they try to work with you in terms of repairs, offer you contractors to work with. They offer me several contractors I could work with, but they're...
So they are working with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When are you gonna submit your list?
Oh, I'm going to submit it as soon as I get the last part of the document, the project work and draw schedule completed. I have to talk to the subcontractors who are doing the electrical, plumbing, windows, roof, and see when they think each part of their project will be done. Yeah, that's the last part.
Okay.
We'll bring it back in 30 days. Where he is.
Just slowing down.
Well, there is some progress, so,
Well,
what's,
I'll make a motion, whether it passes or not, but to give him a month to get what he needs to do on his paperwork, get it submitted to NASDAQ. So they said it'd take a week after that.
So
They
that
get
should
it.
be enough
So
time.
that should be enough time. By next month, you should know where you're headed at least.
Ms. Kirk, what is the city's recommendation?
The city is recommending a $100 a day fine. Just because we just haven't seen any progress since the last hearing, which was a 3-month, was amended from January till April. Nothing's, there's been no action and no contact until this week. And then, of course, you know, with the property not being maintained, so that's why staff requested $100.
I'll make the motion to amend to the 5/3 cutoff. To
Okay.
see where it goes from there, the yard cleanup and.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Chair will entertain a motion, well, actually, Ms. Roby made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5/3 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. No, let's see, who's that, Ms.?
Ms. Marsh.
Ms. Marsh. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, so just get
Do
that
you-
paperwork done, bring it back next time, make sure that, so we know what's going on.
And he needs to do the yard.
And do the yard, get the yard cleaned up. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
And then call Ms. Kirk so she can come look at it, okay? Or show her the paperwork too, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. You know, something we haven't been using lately, we used to use it a lot, were things called progress reports, so that we didn't have to make motions that were either so far out or for compliance or impossible to comply with because we knew what was going on. So we could start doing some of that again, or progress, asking for a progress report in some of these cases. Okay, all right. Let's go on to case number 22, CB 02-23-37, Liam Bates. Get somebody's here. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Liam Bates, 552 Tarragona Way, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kirk.
Okay, since the last hearing, there has been some progress. I have had contact. There is now a after-the-fact permit for the shed that's under review. So we would like to amend to the next cutoff, ask to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
So the address numbers are on?
Yes, and the address numbers are on.
Okay. Would you like to say anything?
So I had a few questions about the permit aspect. They sent me the code enforcement for it and said that it needed to be 15 feet from the property line, but that's the actual single-family dwelling structure. I just don't know what I need to do to get the
Okay, you're going to have to talk to Ms. Kirk. We cannot, as a board,
Okay.
we can't tell you how to come into compliance, but Ms. Kirk can.
Okay.
And permits and licensing probably could, but,
I've tried, but they request information that I don't have because it was there prior to me purchasing the property.
they what?
They need certain information that I do not have access to.
Like what?
Because I bought the house. Who put the shed there, if they got, any type of contractors, the pricing, anything. How it was tailored down,
So
if
how-
it was,
Okay,
I don't know how to get any of that information because the previous owners won't allow it. So they need to know if it's actually strapped to the ground, if it's hurricane rated. I don't have any of that information, or I don't know how to get it. So at this point, I've been looking at people coming just to remove the shed because I don't know how to get it to compliance. So I don't want to get fined for something like physically cannot provide. So, and I just don't know what to do at this point.
Well, getting rid of it would probably, I don't know, you talk to Ms. Kirk about how you can come into compliance, because we can't tell you how to do that.
I mean, it's on the survey of the property at the purchase that the bank required, so it was there before.
Mhm.
So I don't know how to get that stuff.
Any comments from the board or questions?
Just make a motion to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay.
Let's just.
All right. Ms. Roby has made a motion to amend to the next cutoff, which is 5/3/23, to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. But do stay in touch with, because she's the one that can give you the information. And, you know, I don't know what to tell you about permits and licensing, but Ms. Kirk can work with them too.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 23, CEB 03-23-50. Aladdin Raz Nazareth. Is this all one name? Okay. Is anyone here?
Francisco.
Phil, Penna Francisco. Got that. All right. And so the respondent is not present.
Okay, since the last hearing, there's been minimal progress. I have had contact. Staff is recommending a fine of $100 a day to a max of $10,000.
There was somebody named Miss Harris who showed up last
Yes.
time. Who was that? I don't remember. Mom?
Okay. I did speak with her. Nothing's been done with the permit side of it. There's been some outside storage removed, and then the rearranging of the cinder blocks at the front there. But there's still no permits open or anything like that. So,
So no permits opened. They had an HVAC permit, unpermitted renovation. So it is the mother and the son that live there, but the son owns the building. Is that the?
I'm not 100% sure.
Because she was complaining that.
Right, the debris did get picked up. And then there was a little bit more done, like near the front steps, but the HVAC permit still expired, and then the renovation permit was canceled by the previous owner. The work was started, and midway through, the owner sold it, and the contractor canceled the permit. And when they bought the property, they had to,
Right.
you know, so, and that's where it's still at.
That's been 2 years since they bought property, right? I think that's what that is from last time. Well,
Make a motion to accept the city's recommendation.
all right.
Second.
We have is there any discussion? We have a motion from Ms. Roby and a second from Ms. Himes to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 24, CEB 0223-38, Industrial Quality Services, LLC. This is a no-show for the third time. Person lives in Tampa. What's going on here?
Okay.
Ugh.
Since the last hearing, I have not had any contact. There's been no progress that I know of. The staff is requesting a fine of $100 a day to a max of $15,000. I've never done a reinspection of the interior.
You have not?
Never, yeah.
So we don't know whether there's still what are the so we don't know whether anything's been cleared in there.
Right, there was rodent droppings, electrical issues, missing outlets.
Okay.
They do anything outside the grass or anything?
No, that was, I think, yesterday.
Nothing. And is somebody living there, did we say?
No, but that's the first, that was yesterday, and I don't know if they were working inside. I didn't see anybody, but it looked like the front door was.
I see that.
And there was a vehicle there, so.
We don't know whether that's a worker or a tenant.
Yep, I'm not sure.
Okay. Because the original complaint came from the tenant, correct?
Right, yep, that was a
The
tenant complaint.
ex-tenant or,
Mhm.
all right, I don't think $100 a day is enough.
I agree.
Okay.
2 or 3?
Two, probably, I mean,
Yeah,
whatever. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today and continue till compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000.
So moved.
All right, Ms. Roby made the motion, second, Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Is this 15 or 10?
15.
Thank you.
Miss
This is also this also is a rental case against it. Okay. Case 20,
Chair,
yes.
don't have about 2 more out there waiting. You don't want to take them.
Okay. I'm going to finish up the old cases and then we'll take, we only have a couple more old cases, then we'll go into new cases. And if any of you are out there with a new case that need to testify and want to come up here, we'll get right to that. But right now, let's just finish these old cases because we only have a couple more left to do. Case 25, CB 0323-47, Jean Harrington.
Okay. Since the last hearing, there has been no contact, and the permit for the driveway is still expired. Staff is recommending a fine of $100 a day to max of $10,000.
Chair will entertain, any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance. Nope. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Marsh, second, Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case 26, CEB 11-22-249, Charlene Rollins. Okay.
This is, since the last hearing, this is a similar case to the first case we heard today where the right-of-way is being vacated. This is the property directly next door to that case. So we're just waiting on the city right-of-way to be vacated. So we would like to ask to amend to the, what's it? Sorry, hold on one second.
7.5?
To the June cutoff for compliance.
Because this also has to go to planning board.
Right. And then in June, we'll probably have more of a idea of,
So the commission after planning board here?
Yeah, that's the, yeah. And that takes,
That'll be June, what?
right, that'll at least be June.
July, okay, well, I did the other one, June.
All right, well, we could be consistent.
July 7th.
Or we could change both of them or be consistent, because they'll
Okay.
both probably come at the same time. What's your pleasure?
Let's be consistent.
And do June, or be consistent and change the other one to July?
The cutoff,
The cutoff, right?
the cutoff will be the end of May for June, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why we was considering July.
Okay.
Okay. What case number? was-
So it's June cutoff.
Do we want to try the June cutoff date then? For
That
both
one- is
cases?
June cutoff, May 31st?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be the July cutoff then. July cutoff.
So then we need to change the.
We change both, I mean, do July cutoff for this one and change the other to the 7/5 cutoff as well?
Problem is, that was the attorney case,
Yes.
17, and he's not here.
And he's not here.
I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have no objection to make it longer.
Right. And I think that's what he asked for.
Yeah. Do you have his number?
Okay.
I do. I have his card. I can
We
contact
change it
him.
to July if you want.
Is that,
And then we
That's
just,
okay?
we just need to let him know.
Let him
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
all right, so, for case number CEB 11-22-249, Chair, do we have a motion to
Yes.
amend to the 7/5 cutoff?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Himes, second, Mr. Harrington, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And then we'll go back to, what case was that?
17.
No, our attorney said don't change it.
No, he
We'll
said we
change.
could. We just
I
have
don't
to
think so. I
let
don't
him
think
know.
you'd have objection giving him more time.
I don't think you would either. In fact, he asked for that. So we need another motion for case number CEB 09-22-204 to amend to the July cutoff, which is 7/5.
So moved.
Amending the first motion that we made, the previous motion for the date of the cutoff. Okay, so, is that good enough
We need to reconsider it, or just go ahead and do a motion, Tony?
to amend?
No, I would think a motion would be sufficient, just amending that.
Yeah.
Amending the motion,
Fine.
the previous
Previous
motion.
motion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
All right, so that was Mrs. Himes made the motion. Is there a
There's an
second?
attorney involved.
No,
That one.
I second Mr. Harris.
Mr. Harrington made the motion, Ms. Himes seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Just sent you that.
Okay, and you'll let him know that
Yes.
we've done that?
Thank you.
Okay. Case number 27, CEB 02-23-39.
My apologies, Madam Chair. I missed him. He is supposed to be via Zoom.
Oh, this is a Zoom. Oh, good morning, Mr. Hart.
Good morning.
Okay, this is a Zoom call. All right, please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
William Hart, 92 Cambridge Road, Madison, Wisconsin.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Ms. Kirk.
Okay. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Hart. There was an issue with the final inspection, so he's had to reschedule. So we would like to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
What was the issue with the inspection?
Mr. Hart may be able to explain it better than myself.
Okay, so the windows were, you got the permit for the windows, which was approved. What happened, Mr. Hart?
I had applied online for the final inspection, which Inspector Quincy Snoddy called me the following day stating that he was unable to access the interior of the property. Now, it was unbeknownst to me that he required to do an interior access to inspect exterior work, but that beside the point. He said there was a white van in the driveway. I said, Cheyenne is home, but they're reluctant probably to answer the door for strangers. I lobbied him to go back to the property, upon which I had contacted Cheyenne, and she agreed to provide access. He returned to the property, did the inspection, and I don't know why I didn't get a pass, I didn't get a fail, I got it canceled on the status of the final inspection. So
Okay,
I need to.
I mean, so Cheyenne, I just want to is the tenant.
She's not a tenant, they're my dependents.
They're what?
My dependents.
It's the
dependents.
Okay.
She's the head of household.
Do we have pictures we can see?
There should be another picture showing the windows on the back side of the house. There we go.
Okay. So the windows are in. They just need to, I mean, I assume, I don't know, this is an assumption on my part, but in order to make sure the windows open and close, someone would have to have, get into the house.
Correct, and he did gain access on the second visit.
Okay.
So at this point, I said to Mr. Hart, he needs to contact, the permitting department to find out with the final inspection.
Yeah, so I think we'll ask the rest of the board members what they think, but, to give you some more time to figure out what happened here, okay?
May I speak, ma'am?
Go ahead.
I prefer to deal with building inspection when I'm physically in Daytona to resolve any issues. I don't want to play ping pong with this issue. I want to resolve it. So I have I plan on being in Daytona within the next 12 to 14 days, and I think it's best that I want to be physically present for the inspection and know exactly. I don't want to be dependent.
That's fine, you can call, I don't think there's an issue with you calling directly permits and licensing, is there?
No.
But Mr. Schnotty had said that if he cannot gain access on the very next time, he will deny or fail my application. So I don't want to be dependent on someone else to stand in for me. I want to be there and make sure we resolve this thing.
Okay.
Schedule your final for when you'll be here.
Yeah, so schedule the final for when you will be here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, I think isn't that right?
That makes sense to me.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll give you, Chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent in compliance, and wait a minute,
Come into compliance.
come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 5/3, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Roby, second. Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, so that's basically, I mean, we're giving you another month to, when you come to town, or you can call on the phone and schedule it and make sure that you're here if you want to be here for the final, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And when that
that's my
happens,
intention.
then if you tell Ms. Kirk, then you won't have to come back here because you will be in compliance. She has to put you in compliance. Permits and licensing can't put you into compliance, so you will have to call her and tell her that it's been finalized and she can check that out.
Absolutely. She's been very, very extremely cooperative and available to me.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll do the new cases.
Just want to claim, Mr. Megan, these are cases that the board has not seen before. Everything up till now, the board has seen
Right.
before. So,
All right, so who's here for a case? Well, come right up. All right, so let me just explain something. When we hear a new case, do we have a quorum? 1, 2, yeah, okay. We're not just here, we're not here to fine you, okay? We are only here to determine whether you are in compliance or not in compliance. If we find you in compliance, the case is over. If we find you not in compliance, we will then vote on how much time we'll give you to come into compliance, and it varies, okay? So we're not here today to do any, to fine anybody. So we're just here today to do what you need to do, see whether you're in compliance or not in compliance. And it's usually a pretty simple process.
Yeah, this one's real simple.
Okay.
You had asked who was here for a case. All three of them are different cases. Did you?
Yes. Okay, you can come next. They can come next. So just take a seat for 1 minute. This won't take long. Just, uh-oh. What?
Mr. Vice The gentleman's not
From the
next.
perspective of the agenda, that's what.
All right, right now, what case number is yours?
Case number is CEB 042359.
All right, so you're, all right.
Peter Frank.
All right, we're going to hear him first, and then we'll get to you, since he's already up here. Okay, just take a seat. We'll get right to you next. All right. Mr. Frank, state your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Peter Frank, 30 Sterling Circle, Ormond Beach, Florida, 32174.
Okay, will you raise your hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So there's two issues.
Well, wait a minute, we're going to hear from what we do is hear from the code officer first, and then we'll hear from you. Okay, Mr. Yates.
The case before you is a citizen's complaint. The notice of violation was issued for areas of peeling paint and unprotected soffit. They were first notified January 19th, 2023, and compliance was due February 18th, 2023. As of my last inspection on April 12th, they were still not in compliance. I've had contact with the owner, and I'd like to ask for a finding of non-compliance with compliance due by the next hearing.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure I see the violation.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. The screen's a little dark on there, but up in the
Right.
soffit is all.
I can see the, I
Yeah.
can see the soffit stuff, but. Okay. What would you like to tell us, Mr. Frank?
Well, I could have painted the soffits, but I choose to put in all brand-new vinyl. So I've been working on this house now 8 months. The whole house is completely painted. It's all brand-new electrical, which there was a permit pulled by the electrician.
Wow.
I signed up for a owner's builder permit to finish the soffit. So I only need 2 weeks and the house is done.
And you won't have to come back. So what we're going to do, until this is done, and.
I understand.
Okay, so that's all we have to do.
Yep,
Any questions? And thank you for doing all that work.
absolutely.
The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and a respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 5/3/2023, or be returned to the board for consideration, a fine of up to $1,000 a day.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye. Like, sign, opposed. Great.
Thank you.
And just make sure you get back to,
Yep, for a final.
yeah, Kevin Yates. Okay. All right, ladies? What is your,
Those are two separate cases.
oh, which one?
Merlin.
Case, let's do case 28 since I'm on that page, Merlin Velasquez. Okay. Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
What's your name, ma'am?
Marlene Velasquez.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth? The
Yes.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you have any interpretation issues of any kind?
I understand everything.
Okay, so okay, good. Thank you. All right. All right, so we'll hear from Mr. Butler, and then we'll let you talk, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Butler.
Okay, as it pertains to 1136 Lakewood Park Drive, this is a field-generated case. I conducted a site inspection on November the 2nd, 2022, where it was determined the property had the following violations: unpermitted shed, outdoor storage, dirt and grime, dilapidated fencing, junk vehicle, and roof, which is the soffit and the fascia. A first notice was received on November the 15th, 2022. On December the 15th, 2022, the violation was to be in compliance. Last date of reinspection was March the 10th, 2023. The result of my reinspection was non-compliance. I've had no recent contact with the property owner. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance, compliance during the next cutoff.
Okay. What would you like to tell us, Ms. Velasquez?
I did everything. Just now, yesterday, I finished to finish the fascia. I made new roof. I spent almost $20,000 fixing everything for my pocket. My brother, the last week, he helped me to pick up all the garbage. I destroyed the shed. I did everything that he told me.
Okay.
But I finished just yesterday. Because
So-
too much time, too much money.
Leave that there, please.
So, the unpermitted shed, what did you do about that?
I destroyed.
You
And
got
the
rid
other
of it?
shed only,
You got rid of it?
I destroyed the one shed, and the other I leave only the half, because I need for my cats, up, down, the dogs. Because 2 years ago, a people killed me the dog. I need to stay safe. And my neighbor moved, and they leave all the cats abandoned, and they move all my patio. I called the animal control. I was waiting that they take all the cats, but they don't do it. When they saw the cat all in my little shed that I did with myself, they say, oh, they are happy. If you need help for the food, I'm going to bring it. For that, I leave only the half of the shed. The shed is 12 for 13. Now it's 9 by 9.
Okay, we can't, as a board, tell you what you need to do to come into compliance. The person that can tell you that is Mr. Butler.
Okay.
We still see that there's no, I don't think that taking down half of the shed would put you into compliance, but Mr. Butler would know that.
May I?
It would?
May I speak?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. As pertains to this case, we've received numerous calls from people in the community regarding this property. I spoke to the property owner on several occasions. There's a lot of illegal parking there. Also, that shed, that makeshift home that you see there, the complaint came in about people staying in there. She had several people living in that structure.
Is that on the agenda?
I'm sorry, the unpermitted shed is there on the agenda, but I'm sharing
Yeah.
where the complaint came in and the problems that we have. So to answer the question, she cannot have the partial structure there. It needs to come down. The one on the other side, it came down, but they left all the material in the backyard. I was just there this week. Also, you will look at a picture that will show a trailer parked in the front yard. So it's a continuous issue. And all of the garbage and debris that's in the backyard, I think that stuff is still there. It's not gone. So she's not in,
everything.
I'm sorry, so she's not in,
minute.
she's not in compliance at this time, but I will go back out and re-inspect. Also, I'll talk to her outside after this.
Okay,
But
great.
yes, ma'am, that's where we are. As you can see, this picture here, that was taken this week, the beginning of this week. Okay, so.
So that, what's that red thing over there? The red top? That's in the front, is that in the front yard?
Yes, ma'am.
That belong to my brother. He took it. He take it for take all my garbage there. He belonged to my brother.
When we look at these pictures, and that other picture, that big structure in the front is a shed?
That is what we're calling, that, yeah, it's still there.
Whatever's on the my right-hand side there, that's called a shed?
No. Our terminology, that's what we're
Yeah,
using, but
okay, that's fine.
I just share with
An
you,
accessory structure of some sort,
Yes.
and you're calling it a shed.
yes, and it was unpermitted.
It's unpermitted. All right. Ms. Velasquez, we are here today to only see whether you are in compliance or not in compliance. We cannot ourselves put you into compliance. The code officer does that. You're going to have to work with him. And you're going to have to call him. And he said he's willing to talk to you about what needs to be done. He will talk with you, and he will tell you exactly what you need to do to come into compliance, because we look at these pictures and we see from these pictures that you're not, it doesn't appear that you are in compliance. And that's what we have to go on, is Mr. Butler's word and the pictures. So I would develop a pretty good relationship with Mr. Butler and ask him, stay in touch with him.
Okay.
And ask him what you need to do to come into compliance so we can, you can get out from this. But we're not here today to fine you, so you'll have time to do that. And then if you have to come back, we'll consider what you have done, what's been done, we'll consider all of those things, okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance and respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 5/3/2023, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Okay. Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right, so we'll make sure you talk. He said he will talk to you outside, and he'll tell you exactly what needs to be done.
Thank you.
All right, who is next? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, how are you?
Good. Tell me, state your name and address for the record and be sworn in. What case is this?
My name is Emerita Lisette Velasquez, and my mom, the owner too, Rosa B. Hendricks.
Case 31, okay, which is on page 10. All right.
I'm sorry, will you repeat your name again for me?
My name is Emerita Lisette Velasquez, and my mom, Rosa B. Hendricks. So she not present because she doesn't feel good this morning, so I take in the house.
That's fine. You're on there. Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to hear from Ms. Kirk and let her explain what the issues are. Okay?
Okay. I opened this case this was a complaint-generated case that was opened in January for an unpermitted shed, outdoor storage, trash debris, inoperable vehicle, parking on the yard, and egress at the front door, egress issues. It was complaint-generated. First notification was January 21st of 2023. I re-inspected the property on April 12th of 2023 and is still in non-compliance. Staff is requesting a finding of non-compliance with compliance due by the next
Is
cutoff.
anything in compliance in here?
No.
Okay. Okay, we can see from these pictures which were just taken yesterday,
Yes, I was there yesterday.
okay,
Uh,
that some
an
of
older one.
these issues still are there. We can see that, and Ms. Kirk has been there and she's seen it with her own eyes. So, what would you like to tell us? Anything? We're not here today to fine you. We just want you to get in compliance.
After the hurricane Ian, we was flooding like 3 feet in the area. So I started working when I received the letter in my floor. So I take everything out from my mom because everything was wet, clothes, shoes, everything out, boxes. I saw one tree here, that's not mine. I don't know, I saw one tree, that's not mine. So a lot of tree,
Oh, no. The tree picture, that's showing that there's another shed back there. Because one shed was permitted. The one shed, there was a
Okay, we
previous
see that
case,
now.
so
Okay.
there's a couple sheds back there
Yes.
now, so.
Okay.
okay. And then my mom, she get sick, very sick, so I sent to my brother, she doesn't feel good. I don't want she working with me. She don't feel good.
Right.
So she's the owner, so on me. I was living with my son left. And then I get it to job, I don't have time to fix it. But I'm working hard with my mom. 5 days ago, she come here, she feeling good, she start to you know, it's a lot of tree around my house. So my mom always, she wake up 6 o'clock, she start to running the list. She's the only thing she can help me. And then so my truck is there. So yesterday I went to AutoZone to buy battery new. So I moved the truck. So now I can drive. So I'm getting progress, but I need more time to figure out finish my job.
Okay.
Oh, another thing.
Go ahead.
So the other chair, so I bought it from my mom. I didn't get permit, but I came here the last week to get the permit. She said that's not allowed to have it too. So now I have my brother, Wilson. He lives in LPGA and Nova. So
He lives where?
Here in
Oh,
Daytona.
okay.
From the street LPGA.
Okay.
So I figured out I'm gonna remove the second chair. So I already went to the court to the other place for my brother. So he's helped me to remove my mom's chair. So I already paid the.
All right,
fine.
it seems like you're trying hard, and we'll take that into consideration. And you need to keep up with Miss Kirk. I mean, I'm sure she'll be happy to tell you exactly what you need to do, and you seem to be working hard. I mean, from what you say, you're working hard at it. So we'll decide what to do, but you're not in compliance as
No,
of
I did
today,
not
and you
comply.
know that, so that's fine. So the issue for us is, what do we want it to be next month, or do we, 2 months?
Yeah, I think, I would.
Will you want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'd make the motion to find her in non-compliance and give her until, amend to the next, the cutoff of 5/31 for June.
Cool. All right. Ms. Roby has made a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. So we've given you till the end of May before you have to come back here again. And the more you get done, the happier that the board will be. And but stay in touch with Ms. Kirk. So
Okay.
if you get some of these things in compliance, she can put some of them in compliance, okay? So you're not faced with all of this stuff. But she can help you through that process, okay?
Okay,
All right,
okay, I'm
thank
gonna
you
talk
very
to her.
much. All right,
Another question.
okay.
My mom, she has to go to Honduras. She have a trip. She has to figure out her health. So she have a ticket for a flight to Honduras on April 26. She's fine, she fly. So I'm gonna get my problem here.
She's okay to go.
She's okay to go.
okay. I mean, as long as-
she's
as-
worried about, maybe she don't let me.
No, as long as you have permission from her to represent what's going on, we're good with that. okay?
Yeah, okay.
actually one of the
The what?
One of the owners.
Oh, and you're actually an owner, so it's fine that both of you
She
aren't
and
here.
me.
Yeah,
My
okay.
mom and me.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, thank you
All
so
right,
much.
good
very
luck.
much. I appreciate everything.
Okay.
Thanks. Have a nice
You
day.
too.
Adios, bye.
All right, so
Anybody else?
I don't think there's anybody else in here. We need case, we haven't done case 30 yet, right? See, that's on page 9 at the bottom, CEB 0423-62, Daniel Snyder.
Still got 4 cases by.
Okay. Well, you're not
let's see.
Denzel, but you're
Not
here.
Denzel. No, this case was for Mark Jones. Denzel Sykes was going to present it, but he just got a call. He has a family emergency, so I'm going to cover it.
Okay.
This case for 721 South Beach Street, Unit 202A. This case was opened as a citizen's complaint for work without permits. The complete interior was remodeled, meaning electrical, framing, and drywalling. Property was posted on February 22nd of this year. Compliance was due on March 4th of this year. The review of Trackit, and there was no permit application has been submitted, and staff would like to recommend that the property finding of non-compliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
So this is in our downtown area? Is that where that is?
South Beach Street, yes.
And they're just gone ahead and working without?
They just, looks like they just did a full renovation without any permit.
Okay.
You don't have a picture of the outside?
I do not know, no.
Do you know what building it is, John?
202A.
That's real.
Starbucks
This-
or?
No. It's not, I think it's a block before.
721.
Stavros.
I don't know what.
I don't know either.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, no.
We'll figure all that out as this case
It's
moves
gotta be
along.
on the riverside to be the odd number.
Yes.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
The Riverside has two sides.
Oh, well, I meant.
You mean like the
side.
east side of
Yeah, so it's down
Beach,
from
yeah.
Walden's, I guess.
Correct.
Down from where?
Walden's Bar,
Oh. Okay.
where the old funeral home is.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Bellevue.
that far. I didn't realize it was, I thought it was downtown. I didn't realize it was that far down. Okay, that's fine.
It is kind of.
Yeah. I get it. Okay.
South of Bellevue.
All right. Yep, right, yep. I get where it is now. All right. Chair will entertain motion, find respondent non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of fine up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
That's not in the downtown redevelopment
Oh.
area, is it?
I don't believe so, sir.
So is that motion, Ms. Himes, or was it Ms. Roby? Ms. Roby, motion, Ms. Himes, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Now, do you have any more cases here?
I do, yes.
33.
Okay, 33, all right. CEB 042354, Rodrigo Moreno. Okay.
This case was a case that began utilizing the rule of six. Violations was damaged roof. Property owner was notified on 4 November of '22. Compliance was due by 5 December of '22. Site was visited last on 12 April. The property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for a finding of non-compliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay. Do we have any pictures? Okay.
Yeah, they're in there. 331. It's the 331 gray. Nope. Williams, yes.
Yeah, 331 Williams, yeah.
Hey.
I do not see that one.
Ghost picture. Okay. That
All
is
right,
the
but
only
that's
violation.
all right, that's your testimony that it's not in compliance, so,
Correct, yes.
we'll move on. Chair will entertain motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent committed compliance by 5/3/2023 or be returned to the board for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries.
36.
Okay.
Page 11.
All right.
We got 32 to do.
I know, but I want to get Mr. Wally's up here. We'll just get him, get him done. And you only have one more, right?
Which one is it?
Yeah, all right. Okay, we'll get them all done.
35 and
Case
36.
number 35, CEB 0423-57, Sound Realty. Okay. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Stenson.
This, excuse me, this is a complaint-driven case, being an unlicensed rental property. The property owner was noticed on 9 November of '22. Compliance was due on 8 December of '22. Property was last visited on 2/22/23, and the property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for compliance by the next cutoff. And
So there are no other
can tell you
issues than that it's unlicensed?
I'm sorry.
There are no other issues other than it's unlicensed?
That's correct.
And that means it also hasn't had an inspection
Well, in order to get the license, yes, they will need an inspection.
after they license it?
No, no,
Or
no. In
before they
order,
license
in
it?
order to license it,
Right,
will have
they
to
need
get
an
inspection.
inspection. Do we have any pictures of where this property is either? No. And this is,
Last couple of days, there's been some computer issues with these pictures, so.
Okay.
It's on the
Unfortunately.
corner of Riverview and Halifax.
Riverview in
Yeah.
Halifax.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah,
actually,
I
it's
know,
a
yeah.
beautiful property, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have testimony from Mr. Stenson that this is unlicensed. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is May 3rd, 2023, be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
John, did you check and see, just a question, if they have any, Sound Realty has any other rentals listed or properties?
I have not checked, but I can.
Because if there's one, there's probably more.
Yes.
But we're not a detective agency.
Well, we should be.
Right?
All right, case number 36, CEB 04-23-64, Daniel Yancey.
This is a complaint-driven case for damaged fencing, broken windows. Property owner was notified on February 21st of this year. Compliance was due on 14 March of this year.
This is a citizen complaint?
It is.
Okay.
The site was last visited on 4/11, and it remains in noncompliance. We're asking for an order of noncompliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
Yeah, okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent not, we don't have a picture of that either, so, but Mr. Stenson has testified that this is not in compliance. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 5/3 of 23, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Second. All right, so, all right, Mr. Harrington made the motion, and Ms. Himes the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay.
32 on page 10.
All right, there's just one more, Ms.
One more,
Kirk?
one more.
Okay, that's it.
No.
One more. This is our last one? Good.
I thought that he was doing 35. He got
Just did 35, 36.
We just did 35 and 36. Both
Okay.
till next month. Okay. All right, Ms. Kirk, this is CEB 04-23-63, Alan Burton, Sharon Burton, and Ethelrita Burton.
Okay, this is a field-generated case that I opened January 25th of 2023 for outside storage, trash, and debris. The green card was signed, first notification on January 31st of 23. I had no contact. Compliance was due February 15th of 2023. I visited the property yesterday, and it's still in noncompliance. Staff's request a finding of noncompliance with compliance by the next cutoff.
Let me look at these pictures. Does anyone live there? This occupant?
No, there was, after this case was open, I have another case, and it was a squatter situation in there. So I have another case pending. But it's supposed to be vacant, to my understanding. So.
Okay. Huh. Well. All right. Chair will entertain, any questions? Chair, we're going to have to get clear at some point on what squatters and all that stuff is, because that seems to affect more and more of our cases these days. Does it affect us at all?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, the real point of, I think typically with us, with squatters is they're in the structure occupying it without utilities. But if they weren't squatters, it'd still be a violation.
Right.
It's just the fact
Right.
that someone's there and it's in the power of the owner to.
Right.
To
Okay.
eliminate or keep them
Okay.
from being.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Chair will entertain a motion to provide respondent non-compliance and order the respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 5/3/23, be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Welcome, our new member.
Oh, we did, in the beginning.
I know. Thank you for coming and
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting.
Well, yeah, it is.
We can make motions now.
That's right, it is, yeah. You'll get, I mean, it'll come to you. But it really is an interesting process, and I think that it's an important thing that we do. You know, try and make the city look better.
Very important.
Yeah, so. And we do have, I mean, we do have the power to fine, and that's a huge responsibility.
After a period of time, they can foreclose on the property. A fine.
A motion.
90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they take it. So
Yes, they can.
All right, motion to close the meeting from Mr. Harrington, second from me. Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.